Hey guys, it's me, it's Queen Osset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit that red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you have time, please leave this video a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who might like it too, and drop us a positive comment in the comment section. Only positive comments will be approved. All right, so I wanted to talk to you guys about this question that somebody asked me that I really liked. A woman asked me, what was the condition, what was the significance, that's the word, between witches and cats? You know, you always see the witch with the cat. I had two cats at one time. Different women and men too, who were witches that I know personally have cats. And this person was telling me that they noticed this and they were wondering, what is the thing with the cats? Well, first of all, you always see them in Halloween, the black cat sitting, with the witch on the back of the broom and things like that. And honestly, cats have always been a part of spirituality, all the way back to ancient Kemet. Cats were seen as sacred. The Egyptians said they had psychic abilities. And I really do believe this because I've come to find that cats, well, animals in general, I'm going to say, and babies, I feel like they have a better connection with spirit and can see spirit and can feel things that the rest of us may not always. Only those of us that are sensitive can pick up on those kind of things. And even we have to train ourselves. But it seems to me that animals, cats, babies, they seem to have an innate ability. And the Egyptians believed that cats particularly had a psychic sense. So they were worshipped as like, like deities, basically. When you look back at Egyptian history, they even have the cat goddess Sekhmet and the other cat goddess Bastet. And in many traditions, they tell us that Bast or Bastet is Sekhmet's daughter. So you see this, sacred cat thing going on. But the Egyptians, again, believed in that interconnectedness with animals, and that's why so many of their deities have a human and a animal form. Sekhmet and Bastet are not the only two. We have Tahuti, who comes forward as a bird or as a monkey. We have Anubis, who comes forward as a dog. So again, a lot of different traditions, the Egyptians, the Native Americans, a lot of different traditions, the significance of that interconnectedness between animals, man, the earth, plants. They believe in that interconnected nature because we all are helping each other. Animals die and fertilize the land. We use the fertilized land to plant things. So there's an interconnectedness between us all. So people who are pagan have a tendency to work with animals. Now, cats in particular came up because of the fact that they have been celebrated as deities all the way back to ancient times. So people continued to have cats and to see cats as being psychic and to see cats as being like familiars. A familiar is any animal that a witch has that helps her with her magic. So the animal may alert her when there are spirits in the house. The animal may alert her when there's a change of moon cycle or when something is going on. Depending upon how close she is with the animal, she can get all kinds of things from the animal that she couldn't get herself. You ever notice how animals always know when something bad is about to happen? Whenever there's an earthquake or there's some kind of a tsunami or there's a bad storm even, the animals start acting up. And a lot of times they leave. Here in Costa Rica, the one thing I noticed is that whenever there's about to be a storm, the birds start flying in a circle. And I'm looking outside like, what is them birds doing? And every single time, no more than 15, 20 minutes later, there's a huge storm. That's their way of alerting us, if you're paying attention, that a storm is coming. So a lot of witches have a cat or a different type of animal for this reason, to alert them of things. They're more sensitive to the earth and they're more sensitive to spirits than we are. in many cases. So a lot of us have some kind of pet, some kind of animal, something like that. And it doesn't have to be a cat. I mean, like I said, it could be a number of different things. But I think that cats also are very resilient. You don't have to do much for a cat. You don't have to walk it. You don't have to do much for it. All you really should do for your cat is feed it, give it water, take it to the vet, brush it, very simple things. Whereas a lot of other animals need to be walked 3 times a day. And, other animals need a lot more assistance than the cat does. I always found the cats to be very resilient beings. And they're very intuitive beings. Cats can, like, a lot of people feel like cats can feel them. Like my friend was telling me, when she's upset, her cats always come to her. My cats were like that. Whenever I was upset, here they come. If I was angry, if I was sad, I don't know what it was. And I didn't even have to be loud about it. I could just be feeling something, and here come the cats. They have this kind of intuitive energy with and I was getting ready to say with their owner, but people always say you don't really own a cat. This intuitive creature owns you, basically. You are their human versus them being your cat. That's always the feeling I get from cat owners, including myself. So if you think that's kind of strange and you're like, what's with these cats? That's really what it's about. And I do find them to be intuitive. I do find them to be psychic in that sense. And if you really pay attention, for those of you who haven't noticed this before and you have a cat, really watch your cat. Pay attention to your cat, because your cat will be looking at stuff that's not there. My cats did this all the time. They would be looking at things and following it with their eyes. And I would be looking, thinking, is it dust? Is it a fly? Because they love flies. Oh my God. And I'll be looking, trying to see what are they looking at. And they be looking all over and looking at certain places, and like they're really looking at something that's clearly not there. There is no fly. There is no spider. There is nothing flying. They're looking at something. And if you watch your cat, you'll know when something spiritual is going on in your house or around you. If some kind of, like, someone was telling me that this person is a witch too, and she was saying to me that she does a lot of mediumship, so she speaks to spirits a lot. And she was telling me that every time a negative spirit comes around, her cat starts to really get pissy, starts to get angry, starts to yowl at it, hiss at it. And when a positive spirit comes around, he just kind of watches it, like cautiously, suspiciously, like, don't make no false moves, So watch your cat, and you may see some of this behavior that I'm talking about. Some people never even notice stuff like this until somebody points it out. So all throughout history, if you look at pictures, you can Google it. Google witches and cats, and you will find thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pictures at Halloween and other times of the year. There's the Bewitched picture where she's sitting on the broom and the cat is sitting on the back of the broom. There's Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She had a black cat. It's a very common theme. Cats, brooms, cauldrons. You see these kind of things very commonly with witches. And this is why. Because all the way back to ancient times, we have known that these creatures are sensitive. So that's what it basically boils down to. But like I said earlier, don't forget, it's not just cats. I have an encyclopedia right there that I'm looking at that tells you the spiritual properties of different animals. So there's cats, the crow, the raven, all kinds of different animals. In Egyptian, it was the crocodile. It's all kinds of different animals that have been seen as having some kind of spiritual properties or something like that. But cats are one that are very popular. It's very popular to see a witch with her little kitty. And usually it's a black cat. And I feel so sorry for black cats, because black cats get a really bad rep. But I had a black cat, and she was really a sweetheart. She wasn't, black cats get this like reputation for being evil, and it's really not true. They're just, they're cats. She didn't have a sinister bone in her body. She was actually really sweet and very kind. And it was really funny because when I first got her, I remember when I first got her, she was very not into people. She was not into people at all. Wasn't into me, quite frankly. But when I started, because when you first get the cat, you leave it in a locked room, you know, because I had another cat. So they wanted me to introduce them slowly. So for like a week, the cat whisperer told me to leave her by herself. And I would go in there and spend time with her. She really wasn't feeling me. But when I let her out and she came into my bedroom and she stopped right in front of my altar. And she looked back at me and she looked at the altar and she went down the hallway. And from that day on, me and her was cool. It was like she was like, oh, okay, I fucks with you. You know, like that one thing won her over, you know, and we were cool ever since. So that's my cat story. And if you're wondering what happened to my cats, I had an ex, you know, seeing this woman for a couple of months, and she was a cat whisperer. And I had the cats for 10 years, and I decided to work from home. And many of my clients would come to the house, and many people are allergic to animals. So I decided to not have animals in the house so I could see, you know, my clients. And I allowed my cat whisperer friend to adopt the cats. And their names are Pharaoh and Isis, and they live with her, and they are extremely happier because she's a cat whisperer. I mean, they have their own bedroom. She grows them their own catnip. I mean, you know, what is that stuff called? Is it catnip? I think it is catnip. She grows her own fresh catnip for them. So, and they have a brother and sister. So they're over there spoiled and very happy. And the cat whisperer had just lost one of her cats. So I thought it was cool to allow her to adopt them. I thought it was a win-win for everybody, you know, because the only thing I did not want to do was take them to a shelter. I didn't want them to destroy them, you know. So they're there, and they've been there since 2012. I had them for 10 years, and she's had them for the past 8. So yeah, I like cats. I like cats a lot. And if you're a witch, or if you're somebody who's into magic or things along those lines, and you want to have a familiar, you can have any animal that you want, but consider a cat because they are very sensitive. All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So if you would like to get a reading done, please email me and I got you. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and check out all the information I have underneath this video because it might be something that interests you. All right, guys, see you later.